Hello, everyone, and welcome to Embodying Your Higher Self Tools for Conscious Living. My name is Michelle Champaka, and in just a few moments, our special guest, Melinda Genesy, will be joining us. So just sit back and relax, and we'll be right with you. Welcome, Melinda. How are you doing?
Hi, Michelle. I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, awesome. Great to have you on the show. And let me just introduce you. So, welcome, Melinda Genesy. She's a recent graduate of my 6 month Shamanic Mentorship program. And she has also trained with Myra Corral in Siberian shamanism and Colleen Harris in how to be a death doula, which I definitely want to ask you more questions about that. Additionally, Melinda did further studies with shadow work with Melanie Ryan and plant spirit medicine with Corrine Gordonier. And she's also a member of the Native American tribe, the inipi. So, wow, what an amazing background you have in shamanism, Melinda. I didn't realize how much training you've done. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's never finishing. It's never done.
I know. For me too. I love learning, and I feel like it is a lifelong journey, isn't it? We're always learning
Yes.
and growing in this path. So I'd love to hear more, a little bit more about your journey regarding your spiritual journey and how you kind of came from where you were to where you are now.
Yes. Well, I would say that the biggest change. There were many changes in my life. I was always looking for something, for more, for deeper, to understand the world, myself, as many of us, and somehow the bits of information I was getting wasn't satisfying enough. And I think it was 2015 where I first heard about ayahuasca. And while I never done any kind of drugs, somehow it got my interest. And I started to do a lot of research on it. I read books about it. I listened to interviews and podcasts, and something in me just formed that I have to do it. And it's one of those things that, like, my rational mind would never do anything like that, but somehow I just had to do it. And in 2017 I had an opportunity to participate in a ayahuasca ceremony, and um, some of the journeys, what I ended up with was, I could say, nothing pleasant. Actually, for me, it was a very difficult and dark journey. And when I came out of it, I was very confused and didn't understand why all the people have this beautiful experience. And I had to go to this darkest, deepest place. But it gave me something. When I was in this deepest despair and darkness, this amazing power came in me, and I just felt so powerful. I felt that I have this power, which I guess I always knew I had unconsciously. And when I say power, I don't mean power, for others, but power within me, who I am. And when I came out, that memory stayed with me, and somehow a word came up to me, shaman, and I didn't know much about shamanism. I started to research it, and I just knew at the moment that I have to be exposed to it and learn as much as I can. And I started to look around people where I live. I wanted someone really authentic, and I found Myra. She was my first teacher, um, like an hour away from me, and I started to train with her. And then, of course, that opened the door to all kind of other things now I'm part of and I'm doing.
Wonderful, wonderful. And, it's interesting, of course, part of this show, sometimes it comes up about plant medicine, and you mentioned your own experience with ayahuasca and how it was really challenging. And um, a lot of people don't realize, because it's become so trendy, right? Let's
Yes.
go do a magic mushroom ceremony, or let's go do an ayahuasca ceremony. And yeah, I just wanted to put a side note about that. I am a plant medicine facilitator for psilocybin, for magic mushrooms. And I've been seeing lately, in the past few years, a kind of irresponsibility that's been happening with these
Yes.
facilitators
Yes.
and the danger of that. So I just want to caution the listeners to really investigate who is the facilitator you're considering doing a journey with. Like, what is their experience? How long have they been doing this?
Mm-hmm.
What do other participants say about their experiences with working with this particular plant medicine facilitator? And a lot of people just don't even think about it. They're just like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to have a good
Mm-hmm.
time. And I had a client recently where her and her friend were literally just told, yeah, do the ayahuasca, I'm going to bed. And the person, I won't name who they are, but they literally went to bed and left them on their own to do ayahuasca. And I was just like, oh my God, I was appalled. And she
Yes.
had a very terrifying experience, which I won't go into too much, but basically, suffice it to say, 8 months later, she's still trying to deal with the trauma of that experience. So yeah, I definitely am a supporter. Of course, I'm a facilitator of psilocybin, so I'm not anti plant medicine, but I just really want to caution people to really investigate who is your facilitator, and are you in a state of sound mental health that you are able and ready to embark on this journey, because it can be at times quite frightening, as you mentioned, you
Yes,
know.
I agree with all that. Especially that now that I look back and I know more, I believe that person maybe wasn't exactly trained the way and give the attention. I think there were too many people there. My luck was that there was a woman there and she was a helper. They had helpers. And I don't know why I had this connection with her from the beginning. Not necessarily I talked to her, but I noticed her. And when I was in my deepest, I wasn't asking for the medicine, man. I wanted her. She carried some sort of a light I can't explain, and she she really made a difference in that, journey for me. But I have to agree with what you're saying, that you have to be really careful who you're doing that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So yeah, it's just something to be aware of, and it's why I've been very waited a long, long time before I even embarked on doing any plant medicine. But I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about, this path. that we're walking as shamanic healers and other alternative healers out there that might be listening in. As we know, we often have some challenges, that are beyond the ordinary. And in many ways, those challenges are the catalyst for us to become healers. So I'm wondering if you would like to share a little bit more about some of the challenges you've experienced walking this path as a healer.
Yes, I agree with that too. There are like general challenges, I could say since childhood, but there were also more of an initiation challenges in the last 4 or 5 years for me. As being an empath and a very sensitive person, it's um it's a challenge for my entire life in a way. I am just
Yeah.
learning to use this for the benefit of myself and others. But for many, many years, um, these kind of abilities weren't exactly a gift. It made life a little bit more challenging. Um, but if I want to say, when I started to search more and deep dive into shamanism, is where the real challenges started to come up. I could say physically, emotionally, mentally, in all levels. And, when we share those challenges, maybe for someone else, it doesn't sound like a challenge because we all have our own shadows we are facing. And those are the things, what is the hardest for us to come over? And for me, I could say that those things I didn't even know how difficult it is, or I didn't know that those situations could be challenging for me. But as I was exposed to it, I found that those are things I just can't almost deal with. I didn't know how to deal with. And those were the things I was running away basically all my life. I didn't even know it, that I was numbing myself in a way or making myself busy to not face, for example, with loneliness, to be alone, to really, really be alone by myself. And I think that was one of my bigger challenge, what life brought me, that suddenly having a family life, I am on my own. And for whatever reason, it really terrified me. And that goes back to maybe childhood traumas, who knows what it is. But um, I learned through that being alone is not being lonely, and this time is such a sacred time for us to really get to know ourselves and who we are, and that I looked at more as an opportunity to learn more and do those things I couldn't before, and that is a lot of spiritual work, creative work. Then suddenly I was hit with a mystery illness. I say mystery because it has so many symptoms in many levels. But the hardest part was it that I'm a very active person. I always do things. I love nature. I love to go and walk in the nature. I do yoga, and I couldn't do any of those things. And it mentally challenged me, and physically, I was losing weight. I lost appetite, and I really tried all the tools I had at the moment, and I didn't know the solution. And it just opened the door to so many of those darkness within me, what I think otherwise would not have faced. And I truly believe that sickness taught me the most in my life, to understand this human body, and through understanding the human body, understanding earth, and having the connection to my body is having a connection to the mother earth. I can separate the two. I can really see how I looked at my body as a living organism, and how that is related, how my connection is to earth. And I started to put more attention and work on my everyday living, on how I connect to earth, the elements, the food I eat, how my body is really feeling, what is really want, what is what you want. not what I think,
Mm-hmm.
is the best for it, but what it wants. And I think that also one of the most challenging part of that sickness was that somewhere, somehow I knew that the solution is in my hand. I have great helpers. I found wonderful healers who helped me, in that path. But it was really me who started the healing process. And again, I have that's where the shadow work came in. I had so many traumas and so many things I had to deal with because I realized that it's just a physical manifestation what's happening in my body. But it started in the energetic level. And where did those darkness coming from? Where is the trauma coming from? What is really the message here? And those are very, very deep questions. And I the other thing was that really the only way to get out of it, to get in and within in myself. And I would say this is one of the hardest thing I ever done. And many times I thought I'm not able to do it. It's beyond my power. I felt many times powerless. And finding my power and the light within me is just I just had to pull in more and more tools and beliefs and maybe even I would say memories, because I know I've done these things before. I know that it's in me. So basically, I just had to bring it out of myself.
Wow,
So I,
that's
yeah.
amazing. Mm, mm. Yeah, no, I sorry I interrupted you. I'd love to if there was
No,
something else you wanted to
I
say.
was actually kind of finishing. I mean, I could go on, but I think I made my point.
Well, I think it's really beautiful how you've discovered through your illness the deep connection to your body and how your connection to your body is one with the connection with Mother Earth. And I don't think anybody has ever quite articulated it that way before, and I that really resonates with me. And um, I think that's, excuse me, the gift that
Hmm.
you've received from this illness. Yeah, and these challenges and initiations are an opportunity for us to face our shadow. And I guess for people that are not maybe familiar with the term facing your shadow, like what do you think are some defining examples of shadow elements of people?
I believe that shadow elements are the part of us which we don't own. Um,
Mm,
those are created by traumas. Traumas could be even in the womb when you're unborn in your mother's womb and how you're born and what you went through as a child. And um, we all are exposed to traumas, and traumas are, I think, one of our biggest teachers. That's why we are here. If we wouldn't have traumas, we wouldn't have to be on this earth. We have to change, face those challenges. And many times, as we are young, we just suppress those traumas, and we learn to go around it. And with those traumas, first of all, what I realize is that a lot of times we don't even know we're carrying those traumas. We just live in a certain way, which we learn to live, and we feel most importantly safe. We feel safe because we um, learn to cope with certain traumas. So, but they are suppressed, and what I realized that suppressing those traumas are extremely draining. It actually is a lot of effort to live life and suppress those traumas. And what I mentioned earlier, this is why people are making themselves so busy. And of course, there's many different ways people numb themselves. And it could be just simply food. It could be, a TV show. And of course, it's a difference between having a nice, good meal or eating, because I have certain emotion coming up and I want to suppress it. And of course, there's a long list what people do, to suppress these traumas, but it's a lot of work. And so these traumas also hold some kind of a gift. because with these traumas, we basically cut out of part of ourself. And in shamanism, this is called the soul retrieval. But even in psychology, they have the German or Austrian, I think it was psychologist Jung. He worked a lot with shadow work, and I wish they would actually do that more in modern psychology, because I think that so many issues we have is from these suppressed traumas. And of course, no one wants to face with it. And I only basically faced with it at some level. I think my soul volunteered to do this in this lifetime, to heal many karmic, wounds in my lineage and also in my own life. And somehow I wasn't listening to it. I wanted to, but I was missing something, and I had to be so sick and so put in a corner that I was kind of, I could say, forced to face with it. And of course, I could have also go different directions. I decided myself that I'm not going to work with Western doctors. I've been doing a lot of energy work, working mainly with herbs or homeopathic things, and so many different ways. I was actually able to treat myself, but it was the harder way. It was something I had to research and feel out, and it was slower. Um, but it was just the only way I would do it. And through these moments and illness, these shadows started to come up, and it was coming up relentlessly. And I think that we always have. This is another thing I realized. There's always help, and we have to ask for it. And that was one of my trauma, that I don't ask for help because I was raised in a way that I was very independent. I learned to take care of myself and not ask for help, because it was a lot of times a disappointment that I didn't get the help. And from a very young age, I just took care of a lot of my own business. And this is how I learned to live. And it was very difficult for me, and to start to reach out to people and ask for help. Um, and that was one of the healing part of this, to learn that there is help. There is, the divine is with me, and connecting me to the right people. So I always just get enough help that I could, get to the next challenge, and face one shadow and then face the other one. And I feel it's so important that people don't do this alone. um, I get help from places I never thought I would. And it's just something really amazing, which makes this healing journey even more beautiful. So, um, and who knows, how many more shadows I have. But I think one of the way we can see the shadow work, or measure, if you want, the shadow work we do, is how open my heart is, or a heart is. Because I always thought I was a very generous and kind and caring person, but actually my heart was closed in many levels. And facing with these traumas, it really opened my heart. And that is one of the biggest gifts I could say I gained from all that work I've done.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And yeah, I really resonate with everything you've said in my own work and for my own personal work and working with clients. I'd say that's probably the top three challenges or issues that people are dealing with are trauma, for sure. Trauma is way up there. And, I myself experienced a big trauma about 18 months ago, and I got help. I was like, I definitely need help. I contacted a few friends who are healers who helped me. I did my own work, my own healing. Yeah, sometimes we need help because, especially when we've gone through a very big trauma, it's like you're in a state of shock, and really feeling disconnected, lost, confused, disempowered, and you know totally dysregulated. All of those things come up, and in Western psychological terms, they call disassociation. And so yeah, absolutely, getting the help you need. And personally, I've tried therapists. I recently tried a therapist and realized that for me, I guess because of all the tools I have, the therapy wasn't really
Mm,
giving me what I needed, and decided to just continue with the work that I do and that I know works really well and is very expedient. But I certainly would never discourage people from going to therapy, because I think some people can get a lot out of it. But I feel now that we're moving into a whole new era of vibrational medicine and
mhm.
working with frequencies. I can say from my own experience that I recently did a training with sound bowl healing, and it was incredible when we were receiving the sound baths, how I could feel literally my whole parasympathetic nervous system completely relax in a way that I'd never experienced before. And I feel like with people that are in trauma, this is one of the things that happens. They are just constantly in fight and flight mode, and they don't know how to relax their parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes.
So using this vibrational therapy is a way that we can do it without having to medicate, And I used to have a friend who said, don't medicate, meditate. And there's a lot to that. So I love what you were saying, and how those traumas really opened you up to face those shadows. And we do need to do the shadow work if we want to truly heal and transform our lives. So
Yes.
I'd love to ask you now about if you could share one or two tools that have been really effective for you, really helped you to get through, some challenging times in your life, or a daily practice that you use that could be useful to the listeners.
Yeah, so definitely I have a pretty strict, I could say, daily practice. It's I say strict not in a negative way, but I think that discipline is important. Um, because our ego and daily life can carry on easily, and if I have to, I really wake up an hour over an hour and a half before I need to do something. I do every day at least 20 minutes shamatha meditation, which is an open mind meditation. It's one of my mentor teacher is also a Buddhist teacher. She's also actually a shamanic practitioner, but I took a course with her about it's an open mind meditation, and it's very different from a closed eye meditation. And for me, my mind is very active. I'm a very analytical person. And for me, I do closed eye meditation, but this is very different. This is actually super challenging. Um, so I don't want to go too much detail in it, but it's I do 20 minutes of that meditation, and I always pray every morning. I have my morning prayers, reading the directions and other things, and I implemented recently a new practice is which was I think for me so important. I go outside and I sit out on the sun. I have a conversation with the sun. I'm downloading information from the sun. I get the light from the sun, and I like to make it 20 minutes, but honestly, it's it's nowadays sometimes it's only 10 minutes, and it's depending on the weather. But the intention is there to absorb that light and the beauty from the sun. And I also have a small medicine circle I made in my backyard, and that I try to do every evening, thanking the element and the directions. It's kind of a closure of my day, and I also wanna also go out just the formality. Like these are the formalities, but my intention is more and more to have my whole day as a spiritual worshiping. Have the moment when I drink water to recognize water and the energy in it, and And when I look outside my window to see that tree and the energy of that tree, what is that tree saying to me? And this is perhaps the hardest because I have this morning meditation, and I just don't want to be done with it. And now I go on with my life. But again, I'm trying to be more bringing this energetic spirituality into my life. Um, and so that would be my answer to what I do daily. I also follow the stars. I am pretty skilled in astrology, so I also honor the moon cycles. And I do certain ceremonies at full moon and new moon and the solstices and so on. And when going back to when I had those really dark moments, and of course, this what I explained, they kind of I developed these um, kind of rituals and practices when I was really sick, to be honest. So it's not something, I was willing. I already had some practices, but it definitely helped me to have a much better and um, more predictable schedule of that. So when I had those really dark moments, I think that my biggest help was just to work with the elements. And depending on what it was, I just knew what I need. But I could say that the element I used the most was earth. And sometimes just to go outside and literally I just lay down on the bare ground, and I would just holding onto the ground and pray to Mother Earth, and she heard me. Or I would, if I didn't have the option to go outside, I would hold to a piece of rock. It doesn't even have to be crystal, just that piece of rock representing Earth. It's so grounding and it's so comforting. And then there were times when it was water and I just needed to take a shower and feeling how water was cleansing me and helping me to heal. Sometimes a bath. And also fire. I am actually right now working more with fire, and it's part of the sun ritual I do. Is that I'm getting closer to the fire element, even just a candle to remind us the light and the passion and energy we have. And then wind is one of my favorite, but wind is usually my everyday element. It wasn't so much a healing element, but the elements really helped me in the dark moments. And for my thank and honor, I really want them to be incorporated more in my life now, and that's why I do these rituals.
Wow, Melinda, I'm really, really impressed. And those are some awesome ideas for everyone. And of course, people can just choose one, two rituals. We can adapt rituals to our lifestyle. For me, I do the 7-step practice every morning, and that is really important for me because it allows me to connect, which is the first step, to my higher self and to source creator and my helping spirits, grounding into Pachamama, clearing my energy field of anything I might have picked up from any person or place, and gathering my power, centering myself, unifying with the field of oneness and the earth ley lines, and finally protecting. And this is a very simple but powerful practice that I do every day. And it really sets the tone of my day. And I feel like it's become a non-negotiable. Like I have to do it every day. So
Yes.
we all have the ability to bring ritual into our lives, whether you have 2 minutes or 1 hour, or you even, like Melinda suggested, just taking that moment to honor the water that you're drinking as an energy that is coming in to purify your body. Even that moment is ritual, so it doesn't have to be complicated, but it is about how do we create sacred practices in our lives. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So I wanted to open it up. There's a few people in the live studio. If you'd like to get on a call, you just click on, I think there's like a phone icon that you'll see, and you can enter the studio live if you'd like to ask Melinda a question. So don't be shy. You're welcome to come in and get on the call with us. So, Melinda, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we close the show?
I just like to say that I think everybody knows, probably who is listening, that we are living in such a special times. I think this is an opportunity for all of us to heal, to heal whatever level we can heal, and to search deeper within and without, and connect to each other, to believe that, everybody is really light. We all deal with our own traumas, and that separates us, but we really are here to help each other, and reaching out to other people, the right people, is so healing. And for
Mm,
me, besides all what I mentioned, was one of the most healing element of this, to get that support from humans.
yes, absolutely. I love that. And tell us about what kind of services you're offering right now. Now that you've graduated from the 6 month shamanic mentoring program and all the other training you've done, I think you're ready to get going. So tell us about your services.
Yes, I do individual healing sessions. I think one of my gift, what I discovered, I'm extremely intuitive and sensitive, so I easily tune on people's energy field, and I think that helps to heal the person or guide the person. And of course, I learned many shamanic tools now, drum healing, soul retrieval, and so on, which could be very beneficial for someone who is ready to heal or wanna be in a path.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially the soul retrieval, which is really beneficial for people that have had
Yes,
traumatic experiences. So that's a very powerful healing tool, and the drum healing is really beautiful, very grounding, and allows negative energy to be dispersed away from the person. And yeah, I really have enjoyed working with Melinda and seeing her growth. She's really become such an incredible healer, and I'm really excited to see what's next for you, Melinda. Really
thank you.
excited. You're so welcome, and thank you for coming on the show. If you want to get a hold of her, I will put it in the notes when the show is published. But her Facebook is her name, Melinda Genesy, Genesy, and her email is melinda.genesy@gmail.com. So you can reach out to her if you're in Florida, because Melinda is based in West Palm Beach, Florida. Definitely book in with Melinda for a very special healing session with her. And yeah, I'm excited. Are you planning to do any workshops in the near future by any chance, or?
This is something developing in me. I'm not ready yet, but I will do that when I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm sure people would love to learn from you and all the tools you've learned along the way. And yeah, I think that would be amazing if you could put something together in the near future. So thanks everyone for listening in. And I also have some special programs coming up here in Puerto Escondido, Mexico, as well as online. So check out Spirit Weaver, WEAVER, journeys with an S.com to find out more about the programs I'm offering in the future. And it's just been great to have you on the show, Melinda. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you so
thanks
much,
everyone.
Michelle. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. And thanks everyone for listening. And please support the show buy me a cup of coffee. I don't make any money on this show, so whatever donations you guys want to give would be awesome. And until next time, remember embodying your higher self, tools for conscious living. And we're going to try to keep going with this every week so everybody can really get the support they need and learn from experts like Melinda. So thanks again, everybody, for your support and lots of love. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you are.
Bye bye.